Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to Nerd Fight!
Step into the ring, it's time to brawl. Nerd fights, baby, we're geeking for all. Marvel, DC, Trek, and more.
Fire.
Pop culture battles, settle the score. Nerd fights, let's get loud. Nerd fights, yeah, for the geeky crowd. Nerd fights, hey, it's time to throw down. Bring your fandom, it's the hottest showdown. Who's got the takes? Who's got the heat? Mr. Know-It-All and Salty can't be beat.
We're talking about the all-new episode of Lower Deck, and Anson Mount tells fans to f*** off.
Let's fight!
That means only one thing. It's time to fight.
Beat drops out with the final shot.
Nerd Fights.
Let's fight!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Nerd Fights. I'm, of course, your host. I'm your host, Mr. Know-It-All. That is Salty Trekker.
Yes.
That's right.
Although I am known to be something of a know-it-all.
You very much are. So I think you get along so good.
I could be Mr. Know-It-all as well.
Even though Mr. Know-It-All's dad. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, wow.
Start calling you Grandpa Know-It-All. I'm kidding.
Ooh,
No, I can't take that away from my father-in-law. My father-in-law is Grandpa Know-It-All all day long. Okay, welcome everybody to the show. I'm so glad that you're here. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody who celebrates. We have had an unbelievable week of some of the craziest stuff go down. So we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff like normal. First, we're going to get into our own stuff we did during the week and just kind of socialize for a little bit with all of you while people shuffle in. And we want to kind of give us an opportunity to sort of have get an audience. Mr. Forgot a lot. I love you, creep. But also, we're going to talk about Lower Decks, obviously, the episode, which was actually, I enjoyed the heck out of. It was a really good episode. Then we're going to get into some updates about Strange New Worlds. And of course, Anson Mount has either lost his mind or is really frustrated. And we'll talk about that too. I think he's getting sort of a bum rap, and we're going to, Salty brought that up to me this week, and I thought it was a good idea that we love having that chat with you guys. Another thing I want to say, thank y'all so much. I posted a Thanksgiving short, and all of you came out and said Happy Thanksgiving to us, and the Know-It-All family couldn't have felt more love, so thank you guys. Salty, how's your week been, sir?
Not too bad. Okay, look. You ever have one of those moments where you're scanning your YouTube feed and you're just like, oh, I know what this video is going to be. So you click on it even though you know you shouldn't. And then when you're watching the video, you're like, wait, no, this isn't right. And that happened to me yesterday. Critical Drinker, you know who he is.
Yes.
Okay. So very much in line with the Fandom Menace type of way of thinking as far as most things. And
didn't he publish a book once?
He's published a couple of books.
Okay. I just found that out, and I was like, oh wow, that's cool.
But the thing is that he did a review on Wicked.
Okay.
And you heard my summary of the movie.
I did.
So based on that, it's pretty safe to say that Critical Drinker, do you really need to watch a review from him on this? I mean, he's going to go off on the fact that everybody's gay, that it pushes the animal rights thing, it pushes the feminism thing, it pushes the racism.
Everyone's gay?
Everyone's gay in this movie.
I didn't know that. Oh, so you told me a little bit about that.
Yeah, all the Munchkins are gay. And by the way, the Munchkins are not Munchkins. They're like 6 feet tall. So whatever. I'm not even making. By the way, the Wicked Witch of the West is a Munchkin. That's not a joke. That's not an exact. Yes, she is the daughter of the mayor and his wife from Munchkinland.
Okay.
So she is actually a Munchkin.
By the way, Stanley, that's exactly why I found out he had a book, is because I heard about the short film coming out.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, oh, he did a book. Got it. And so that's why I felt it. But thank you.
By the way, if anything, I think Critical Drinker's books and short film prove that just because you have the resources to make something doesn't mean you're good at it.
Why do you think there's times that I have all the stuff to make a movie? I genuinely do. And I have not endeavored to fully dive into that yet because I'm with you. I don't necessarily know that I should. So
I know my wheelhouse is writing.
Same.
And so while I can envision some things I would love to do, I'm not an experienced director, so I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Do that without.
I've done film and TV, but at the same time, I was a producer, not as a producer and a writer, not as a director. So I wouldn't. Right. I'm gonna say the most ignorant thing I could say. I mean, how hard could it be?
Right. So,
Benny.
all this being said, so it was pretty much. I mean, when I saw the Critical Drinker was reviewing it, I was like, okay, he's just going to go off on this mess, right? So I click on the video. He loved
Okay.
it. He liked it. He the whole, he's like, oh yeah, this is good stuff, and I like it's a prequel to the Wizard of Oz, and it's really well done, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like,
Really?
yeah, exactly.
I don't know why. No. I mean, hey, that's awesome. I don't know why my immediate assumption would have been. I know exactly why, because what we just talked about would have been that he would hate it.
Well, Eddie would hate me now. And by the way, just to make sure I qualify what I said earlier, yes, all these things that I mentioned are I think are kind of detractors to the film. But the overall the Ariana Grande as absolutely wonderful as Glinda, and
I'm sorry, as who?
Galinda, yeah. She does change her name to Glinda by the end. Of the movie.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, I had heard about that little, and maybe that's a thing from the original play or something.
I assume it's from the play. I don't know.
Yeah.
By the way, apparently, and I didn't know because I know Critical Drinker has seen the stage play. I have not.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he said that this movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long, making it longer than the stage play, and it only covers the story beats up to intermission. So it is really the only the first half.
Wow. Okay.
And so based on that, why is he praising this movie? He hates the Hobbit franchise exactly for that, and even mentions he compares it to the Hobbit franchise for that.
Look, I understand that the vast majority of the people on like in groups like the Fandom Menace, I don't want to just pick on them because there's a lot of other people that do the same thing.
Right.
Want to paint with a pretty broad, wide brush.
Sure.
That doesn't mean some of them can't have nuance.
I understand that, but
you're right. I would never have assumed.
Yeah, my problem isn't that Critical Drinker liked it. My problem is that he's so inconsistent with what he says is good or bad. Because how many times, and don't get me wrong, Critical Drinker is very entertaining. He's funny. He's good at writing his scripts. He really is.
Sure.
But how many times has he gone off on various movies, TV shows, etc., because they have the message, as he calls it?
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
That's all. This movie has the message interwoven through every scene of the freaking movie. You know,
it's so funny. You said that when we talked, and I thought to myself, and I think I said it to you, everybody wants to say this is a prequel to, and obviously there's nothing official because the copyright's long gone. We could all write anything we wanted to about Wizard of Oz.
Right.
But most people do lean on this play as being a definitive prequel. Like, yes. I was shocked so after we talked, I looked it up and I was like, no, this is how apparently the Wizard of Oz community does believe this, or not believe, but considers this some form of canonical prequel.
Which is my biggest problem with this. I told you about this because my biggest problem is that if this is the actual prequel to the Wizard of Oz,
right,
that means that when Dorothy accidentally dropped a house on the Witch of the East and all the Munchkins were celebrating, at the beginning of the Wizard of Oz,
sure,
she dropped a house on a disabled, wheelchair-bound little girl.
Oh.
And then stole her shoes to boot, so it's like
rough.
Yeah, because it turns out, you find out that Athaba, or however you say her name,
and Elphaba. The answer no. Stanley, the answer is no. She was always called the Wicked Witch of the West, or East or West or whatever.
Yeah, and originally she was just called the Wicked Witch of the West.
Before you get too far, I want to try to answer this question really quickly because I feel like I might be able to give it a short.
Go ahead.
What even is the message? By the way, I have not been as steeped as Salty has been in that culture for years that he was in it. My understanding is the message is considered what people would call woke culture, trying to add forced diversity, inclusion, all those things, meaning gender swapping and this and that, and saying everything is equal. And by the way, hetero cisgender white man culture, you're bad.
Right.
On top, all those things wrapped together become this conglomeration that is the message. And
you also have to accentuate feminism in the message.
Right. Again, I don't look, I've never even thought about that. I do know that my best friend, he does often say, he's like, but does it have the message? And I'm like, bro, stop it. Which always tells me, I've always told him, I was like, dude, you're your fandom menace is showing.
Yeah.
It's
And
like-
Arabic, why is there no Witch of the South? That's a good question. That I've always. I think the Witch of the South does appear in the books.
I think she does actually in the book, but I think she's like Glinda. I think she's considered quote unquote a good.
Right. The North and South witches are good. The East and West witches are evil.
They're the ones that are slightly.
Yeah. But the and now I think, and I don't know because I haven't seen the stage play. Your wife may know this, but I get the feeling that Michelle Yeoh's character is the Witch of the South.
Oh wow! I hadn't even thought about that.
So, but I don't know. They never call her the Witch of the South, but they also never call Galinda the Witch of the North. So
No, it's true. She was just the good witch.
Yeah.
Glinda, the good witch.
yeah.
With her very syrupy voice she had back then.
Right. Well, and the thing is that like the way, my problem is that if you want to take this as a serious attempt at doing a prequel to The Wizard of Oz,
Okay.
then the way they dealt with Galinda, at least in the movie, it tracks for me because Galinda is not evil as much as so self-absorbed and caring about appearances of being good that she may accidentally, ignorantly do bad things. And
See, that's the part that always troubled me. Maybe you can shed some light in the trailers and stuff. It looks like a good part of this. Glinda's with the mean girls making fun of Elphaba, but then we see this like later toward the very end of most trailers. They're like holding hands, and one day we'll be together, and blah blah
they're
blah.
forced. Yeah, they're for. It's actually it's the oldest story in the world as far as these types of productions. Galinda is the it girl. She's very popular. She looks perfect. She's pretty. Everybody loves her.
No offense. I don't know if I'd. Frankly, I feel like Ariana Grande. Someone needs to do a wellness check on if she's okay, because the girl looks like skinny enough.
She
to
needs to
slip
eat a
through-
cheeseburger.
Yeah. She looks like she could slip through, jail bars with no issue.
Yes.
I am concerned for her well-being.
Now, Elphaba, on the other hand, has always been mocked, always been picked on, and this is where like the racism angle comes in because of her green skin.
So, okay, let's address the racism of it all. I have an issue with them because I did understand the racism issue from the play.
Yes.
And I feel like you get away with that just fine because of how the plays have always traditionally been depicted.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like casting a black woman as the racially attacked witch.
That's a bit on the nose.
Very, very on the nose, and almost like that feels like you're shoving that particular element down our throats. And I'm like, but the story did a good enough job. I knew that element before Cynthia Erivo, whatever her name was cast as Elphaba.
Right. Yeah, I agree. 100%. I don't think that. I think her casting was stunt casting. I think Ariana Grande was perfectly cast. To be honest.
Really?
Oh yeah, she was so good.
Right on.
But which surprised me because I've never seen her act before. And
Thomas Potts coming in with the green skinned people are evil. I don't know. Ask William Shatner. He's all about the Wizard of Oz.
William Shatner posted on X that he heard Oz has hot green chicks. I like that.
Shatner, you the man, baby.
Yeah.
You the man. Dude, at this age, he's not like nobody's managing his social media. I'm like, good for you.
But the so as far as like Galinda, if you look at the original Wizard of Oz,
right,
and there's one of the funniest, cringeworthy lines in the entire film that doesn't age well,
right,
also feeds into her character perfectly, which is when Dorothy confronts Glinda and says, "But I thought witches were mean and evil," and she says, "Oh no. Only ugly witches are evil." That's in the original Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah, totally.
And
You're
so
right.
that is something that Ariana Grande's character would absolutely 100% say.
That's fair. Thomas Potts would like to point out no green people in Rings of Power season 2. Thanks, Thomas. Hey man, don't spoil it. You may eventually convince us to watch it.
But anyway, so the fact that the Critical Drinker was talking about how this is a great show, and he said, "Oh, sure, it drags on a bit. Oh, sure, they stretch it out to where the first half of it is longer than the entire stage play, but it's a good play. It's got great musical numbers."
Normal style, did he review it in his normal like Captain Jack style?
Yes.
So here's my problem with that. that style I feel like only works because he's only
It only works for hate.
he sounds like an angry drunk all the time.
Yes.
I don't know what happy angry drunk sound like. What does happy critical drinker sound like?
Well, watch his
Review of
his
this
Wicked
movie.
review, and you'll see.
Oh, I got you. By the way, in case anybody's just joining us, I want you to understand we do always have a set of things we do, but the beginning there's always a little secret review of some kind. Lately
I'm sorry,
because-
I didn't mean to go on this whole time.
No, I love it because Salty watches these things on the weekends and whatnot.
Yeah.
We're actually planning on trying something to play with a little more hopefully next week, which is going to be review with no clue, where there are things he sees things I don't see. So I'm going to try to do a review just based on trailers and non-spoiler stuff that I find out, and see how well that tracks with what his knowledge of actually having seen it is. So that'll be fun. We'll try that out next week.
Now you got me. I want to look up what the next movie we're seeing.
Really? That's awesome. He's like, we're going to find that out right now.
Let's see.
All right. So then let's go ahead and get into a little bit of the discussion having to do with one of our favorite shows of late, Lower Decks. There we are.
Lower Decks. Yes.
Lower Decks, man. I'll tell you what. This was the episode 7, which I actually really did enjoy.
I will say this though.
So
This
real quick,
episode-
Ben, we did. I was supposed to be here on Wednesday, but then in all the getting ready of Thanksgiving, I got.
We'll try to squeeze some Dune time in too.
Yeah, no, for sure. Before we're done, we'll try to talk about the second episode because I do want to talk about that as well.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I will say this. I think the fact that Jack Quaid was having scheduling issues with doing doing Lower Decks this season shows in this episode.
So I feel like I'm sitting here going, guys, this is the last season. Why aren't I seeing more of the main people?
Right.
And now I didn't know that. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Was it with the boys or just in general other stuff?
I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I know it's a combination of the writer's strike and the fact that he's being pulled in 17 different directions.
And anybody who's saying, but the writer's strike was last year, understand something.
Production takes a long
They
time.
probably voiced a lot of stuff during, like, that far back.
Yeah.
Because you need that level of leeway or that lead time to do animation.
Right, because you do the animation based on the voice performance, not the other way around. And
Correct.
so, but yeah, so so Quaid has been a hard commodity to nail down, and yes, Stan, that was Brent Spiner.
Yeah, and he says he sounded different than he did in Picard. They must have processed the voice. I could see that.
Yeah, they might have done a
just-
little AI enhancement.
You know, there's nothing. I could totally get that, especially if you're doing. So there's this thing lately that's just come up. I've heard about called voice synthesis, where you take an actor, you clone their voice, but then you clone their voice from when they were younger. They still do the performance, and then you just overlay their younger version of their voice over top of it.
And by the way, can I just say, just when you thought that Brent Spiner couldn't come up with another character based on Data for him to play,
Totally.
it's
Totally.
now
You
it's
realize the next convention we go to, there will be purple datas.
Oh, absolutely.
There'll probably be purple other characters too.
Yes.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh yeah. By the way, spoilers. Data's head shows up because why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The short version, by the way, of the episode is very simple. Everybody was, in essence, they go to investigate another one of these little, I say plot holes. That's not what I mean. One of these fissures
holes.
in space.
Space holes.
Yeah, space holes. And they find out a purple Enterprise had come to their universe and now is left. But it interacted a little bit with this one planet, so they have to go figure out that planet. We get to see everybody. Did anyone else find it funny that when Dr. Tiana was making everyone look like this alien species, she chose one of the other races of that species for Mariner? So Mariner was still the black chick, no matter, even though she was on the planet, on an alien planet. Like the other two characters, Tillin and what's her face, the Saitendi, were the darker orange version,
Right.
and Mariner was the lighter yellowish orange version.
That's funny. I did not notice that.
I looked over at Baby Know It All because she did watch it with me, and I said, "What? Why Mariner got to be the black guy everywhere she goes? I just thought it was so funny. And then on the planet, they did have those folks as well. I was like, okay, cool. So they do have multiple versions.
And this planet, much like the planet from Voyager, there's time dilation. So if 30 seconds on the ship is like a week on the planet. And
by the way, that's one of my favorite Voyager episodes.
Really, blink of an eye.
Yeah, man.
Wink of an eye is the TOS episode.
And then I felt like later on, the Seth MacFarlane version. Seth, what show with the other sci-fi show, the knockoff of Star Trek?
Oh, Orville.
Orville did a version of the same type of story, and I kind of dug their version a little better.
I like their version too, because by the end of the episode, they were more advanced.
I know. I was like, that is brilliant. And they had figured out the time dilation.
Yeah.
Like, that's how far advanced they got. And I was like, that's awesome. Oh, yeah. Dinner Bells here says, so he's played Data, Lore, Sung, OG Sung, Augmented Ancestor, B4, whoever he was in that synth community in Picard. It's totally true. Like,
and now Purple Data.
Yeah, and now Purple Data. And you're like, okay. I love that so much. They're like, Brent, we'd like you to play Data again. I'm not doing makeup. And he goes, no. Animation. Oh, yeah, that I can do.
Yeah.
I love it.
And Purple Data has an affinity for purple.
Yeah, totally. That was cool. He's like,
they're saying, what does your Enterprise look like? Well, it's mostly just gray. Well, why would you do gray when purple is available?
when purple's available. I was like, right on, man. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But I loved, so I had to explain to Baby Know-It-All that the idea of time dilation episodes, or even like Mariner mentions Picard when he was struck by the probe.
Yes.
And lived an entire life in like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, she's like, oh yeah, I get to live my probe life. And she's trying to run around trying
to find her.
I gotta find a best friend. I gotta become a pillar of the community. I gotta do this, all these things. I was like, that's hilarious.
But this is really Tindy's episode.
Oh my gosh, so much.
And I think they did some good character moments with Tindy and Talin.
Did you see how she had him set up? Like they did it because that's what they do in Lower Decks. It was reminiscent of the old world that Data had been in and the one that they went in, Time's Arrow.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I loved it so much because she's literally got the like tubes and the bulbs and stuff on the things she set up.
Although I thought it was kind of funny that Purple Data referenced Time's Arrow directly. So does that mean that there's a purple version of Time's Arrow?
Right? Oh, can you imagine? Ben One Eye says Spiner played 3 different songs. You're absolutely correct.
Right.
He played Dr. Sung, old Dr. Sung. He played young Dr. Sung.
But now he's played 4 different Datas.
And then he played Alton Sung. And then and then in Enterprise, he played another Sung.
Right, that's the Augment song.
Okay. Yeah, see, I'm saying I know some stuff from Enterprise. I didn't watch it all, but I know some stuff from Enterprise. By the way, something recently made me interested in watching Enterprise. So now I think I'll start taking you seriously about us figuring out when to do that because I watched something else. I'll tell you about it later offline. Anyways, yes, I'm interested in watching that more now because of some other things I've seen.
Yeah. So he's played the original Data, Lore, B4. Then you have the hybrid Data from Picard, and now Purple Data. So 5 Datas. A fistful of Datas, you might say.
I loved that episode. That's one of the hokiest and corniest episodes ever, but I kind of dug it. Yeah. Especially because they used Alexander as the excuse. And I'm like, that works. That works so much.
And you're so right, Thomas. He is not a real Star Trek fan.
Shut up. No, listen, okay.
Hey, no. All I gotta say, hates Enterprise, loves Discovery.
I did not say I love Discovery. I said I understand it, and I am not against it.
That's code for loves.
You're such a liar. That's right, a code. I love it. Thomas is like, wow, real Trek fan watches all of Trek. Whatever. Yeah. No, my God. So while my wife's in the kitchen finishing Thanksgiving stuff, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put on. I felt like watching a classic episode, and I watched, and I literally was like, I'm gonna go back to season 1. Let's start there. And I happened to. She caught me watching the first episode, and then, or not the cage, but the first, and then she caught me watching the next one where they have the different outfits. And I had to
Right.
explain to her, I said, that was filmed before these people were done, but then they moved them in the production schedule for when
Right.
the air schedule, rather.
Right, because the Man Trap was the first episode aired, but
Right.
Where No Man Has Gone Before was the first episode filmed.
Right. And you can totally tell because they have a different doctor, they have everything different. The only people there are
Right.
Kirk and Spock and McCoy and Sulu, but
Yeah,
like
McCoy
Sulu's
was
wearing
not-
blue.
McCoy wasn't there.
Or not McCoy, I meant Scotty. Scotty's wearing
Yeah,
orange,
Scotty was
gold,
wearing gold and Sulu was wearing blue
blue.
because they really were going into, this is the funny thing. Like, everybody wants to talk about how progressive Gene Roddenberry is. Gene Roddenberry took the Asian dude and made him the ship's mathematician.
Oh my God, by the way, I know, Thomas, that's the first thing I did was I was searching. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do Star Trek, but let me at least be on theme. Thanksgiving episodes, Charlie X came up.
Yeah, Charlie X is the only direct mention of Thanksgiving.
I don't know. Have we ever showed your song? It's on your video. It's on your channel, isn't it?
I think so.
Okay. Because all I could think of watching that was
my song.
That's it. Like, there he goes, wanting sex again. There's Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie was just a horny kid.
It's so great. If you haven't seen Salty's song, check it out. I think right now it's still over on the Exposed channel, but eventually we're going to move it. I have it downloaded, and we're going to move it over to the Nerd Fight or Salty Plus channel.
Oh, Charlie X. Yeah.
That's really fun. Do you need to remaster that, by the way? I'm telling you.
I haven't been able to figure out how to duplicate that style though.
No, you have to. You go to your song and just remaster.
Oh, okay.
You go to the three dots, and one of the options near where download wave and everything else is remaster.
And no, Creep, Charlie X is not non-binary. However, the Salt Monster is.
I'll go with that. Yes.
Yeah, the Salt Monster.
That's as far as I got. Is the Salt Monster?
Yeah, the Salt Monster is definitely non-binary.
I do love that episode.
And Kirk is a true transsexual. If you watch the last episode of the original series,
I hate you so much.
He is literally a man trapped in a woman's body in that episode.
Oh my God! And isn't it one like they allow that actress to play her Shatnerisms, but
and Shatner plays a woman so hilariously. Like when he's sitting in his corner going, "Oh my gosh, I just can't believe all this,"
Yeah, totally. I was like, that's awesome. Oh my God. Yeah, no, they did a good job with that.
Yeah. But yeah, so Shatner is a transsexual. So it's kind of interesting. The TOS started with a non-binary character because
Janita T. Kirk.
Janita. But don't think about it. TOS starts with a non-binary character with the salt vampire, and TOS finishes with the captain of the Enterprise being transgender.
There was always a mess. The message. No.
The message, yes.
Kidding. Oh my God. All right. Well, so what did you? Anything else that you liked about the episode?
I thought this was a good episode. I'm still curious to where all these subspace things are coming from, because unlike last season,
do you think they'll give us? Do you think they'll treat us and give us one of the alternate universes in the last episode will be a live action?
I really hope so.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
I would love to see them. I mean, granted, that would be an expensive thing.
But even just on screen, like remember how they did the Riker and the Borg universe and that one one. Why am I looking at a super close up of your face all of a sudden?
Oh, because my heater, I bumped it.
Hold on. Did we suddenly go full TOS? You get the Dutch angle? He's like you're this weird.
Yeah, don't make me break up.
Oh, Stanley goes Dame T. Kirk.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So, yeah,
that's awesome.
I would love to see them do a live action version. The problem is that really...
Creep, I've heard that Salty considers Gene Roddenberry, early Gene Roddenberry especially, to be one of his role models.
All right, I'm out.
That's all it took. He's like, and I'm gone.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dinner Ball says you get in the Dutch angle with zoom in and enhance.
Yes.
Yes, exactly what it was. Oh my God. So where do you think they're going with all this?
That's what I want to know because, like I said, last season you at least got the idea that okay, in the first couple episodes it seems like some ship is uber powerful and blowing away these other ships.
Right.
Then we figure out midway through the season that no, the ships aren't being destroyed; they're being abducted. And then in the second to last episode, we get the reveal of what's really going on. Now, if I'm correct, next week is the second to last episode, and we still have no because
No. Next week, this was episode 7. There are 10 episodes this season. I thought. Are there only 8? No.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. So
We
it's
have
the
3 more
third to the last.
Yeah.
So, but we haven't gotten any real progress as to any kind of hint as to what's behind these fissures.
I feel like this entire season was like, I feel like as they've been doing the show, season 1, 2, 3, whatever, they've always got this board of, okay, guys, we have tons of multiverse story ideas and parallel universe ideas. We're going to put those over here. And every season, and then they find out the last season, season 5, and they're like, okay, remember that board we had on the side? We're doing them all.
Throw it all in
Let's
there.
go. We're going to do every one of those episodes.
So yeah, I want to know, like, is there any significance to the purple universe, or is that just a one-off? The microscopic universe where they find the tiny Voyager in the early episode. Is there significance to that? Is there something that's going to bring all this together, or is it just going to be like in the last episode, this insane random 8 million different universes and jumping around and trying to keep the universe from falling apart now?
I think they're going to do. I'm still think they've shown nothing to say otherwise. I still think they're going to do something similar to All Good Things. Now, All Good Things use time as their version. I think this is going to do something different, but it's going to somehow combine parallel universes, and it all starts in our universe and then has to go creating. Like they're going to somehow create all the fissures from the current universe that we want.
Right. I still think it would be hilarious if they actually visit the All Good Things time singularity. And
all I want to do so Trustin asks, I haven't started season 5 of Lower Decks yet. Have they touched on Boimler's transporter clone in section 31? Listen, everyone in the chat, just tell him yes. He doesn't know any different. I love when people are like, I haven't seen this thing. Did they do this? Boy, did they.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, we find out the section, the Cerritos is a section 31 ship.
Mike Case says we're going to get insane level of cameos, and I totally agree. Please continue, sir.
I think that he'll be surprised to find out that the Cerritos is a section 31 ship. That was a big.
Did you spoil that for him?
I know. I'm sorry, but the really weird thing though to me is the fact that Boimler is actually a Cardassian.
I had no idea that he could hide all that adjusted surgery.
Yeah. And a member of the Obsidian Order on top of that. I mean, come on.
Just throwing all the organizations on top.
He's, because it turns out, of course, Talin is a Romulan.
That's right.
And she's part of the Tal Shiar. And in fact, she's actually part of what do they call the Vat Mash or
the Vashtinarada. No, that's Doctor Who. Dang it.
Whatever they're called, the super secret
guys.
Yeah, the super secret part of
That's right. Tom is coming in with the good questions. We still haven't seen Kim.
Yeah.
Harry Kim.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't.
They promoted the season on the back of that scene.
Yeah. Well, I did like that meme you sent me. Or it's what did Harry Kim say after he got his promotion? Computer and program.
And it shows Data laughing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I could see them. Okay.
Maybe Kim is actually the thing causing
that holds it all together.
Yeah.
What if he's been What if Ensign Kim has been looking for a parallel universe where he finally got a promotion? And somehow that desire has caused all these fissures and holes and stuff. If I accidentally get this right, I'm gonna freak out.
I was thinking, what if Ensign Kim getting promoted to lieutenant is what causes the problem?
Like it breaks everything.
Yeah. because the universe has to have an Ensign Kim. He's like their what do they call it in Marvel?
Anchor person.
Yeah, he's their anchor character. But so as soon as he gets promoted from Ensign, the entire universe starts unraveling. Yeah,
Everything goes bad.
yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think Kim might be a big part of it.
Quick update on the Tawny Newsome stuff and the new show she's been writing.
Oh, I haven't heard anything. So
most recently, she said that she was being interviewed and asked about it, and she said, "Look, they've had us. We've written a lot, and every time we turn stuff in, they tell us, okay, go keep writing." So she's like, until we are told otherwise, we're just continuing to write stuff and keep moving forward. They haven't actually moved into quote unquote pre-production. I think they're waiting till whatever. So chances are
they're in development, is what.
Yeah, but they're like they're writing. Like they haven't been told to stop. They're going. That is, aside from Lower Decks, that is her full-time job, is writing this other show.
Yeah.
Well, not anymore because Lower Decks is obviously over. But anyway, yeah. I'm excited to see what they do with that, though. What did you? Any final thoughts about the season? Where you think it's ultimately going to end up going?
I don't know. I think that Ensign Kim is a big part of it, but I genuinely don't know where they're going. I think, like you were mentioning the live action thing, that could be the platform to jump off to the Tawny Newsome series.
It's true. If they're smart, that would be a good way to spin it off. I would love to see her come up. God, Tristan says Kim's promotion breaking the universe makes as much sense as the burn from Discovery.
Sadly, it makes more sense than the burn from Discovery.
Yeah, no, listen, I may understand the show more. The burn was still the dumbest thing ever because you want to go.
He loves Discovery. Don't get him wrong.
But didn't they just address that in Star Trek: The Next Generation with that whole warp thing back in season 7? Or do we ignore that now?
They ignored it just a couple episodes later.
Literally, they're like, I think the most they said was, we got special permission to bypass the
to speed,
the no wake zones, if you will. to speed. Oh my god!
All right, so
there had to be a logical question though. At some point, you have to sit here and go, okay, how much can you warp space before you break it? Oh, Mike Case coming in with the prediction. Crazy prediction. The battle in the opening, that's the preview from the finale.
I would love that.
Dude, like the whole universe is collapsing and all these super beings had to be called in. That's awesome.
But I'm sorry, looking at that battle, V'ger wins.
Oh my god, so much.
Yeah.
The whole arc of Tom getting demoted and re-promoted in like a year while Harry is snubbed. So true. Oh my god, I love that so much. Oh my god. All right, so that's our lower decks talk, if you will.
Yes.
So do you want to shift over? You want to shift over to our good buddy Anson and let's
Anson. Okay, so first of all, before we look at the actual things said, okay. Just if you search YouTube, like you just search YouTube, Anson Mount goes off, you will find dozens of videos.
Search YouTube, Anson. I love that. Anson Mount goes off.
Yeah, you will find dozens of woke actor meltdown.
Yeah.
Is he okay? He's lost his mind.
I saw all of these things firsthand because I follow the man.
Yeah.
I follow him.
So and everybody said, oh, he tells the fans to F off, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where this started. That's what, because I was not following Anson Mount on X. I am now, so I can kind of keep track. Because I'll tell you, after meeting Anson Mount, while not as incredibly gracious as Ethan Peck, he was a really nice guy.
So what did I said this to you offline. Anson Mount, I realized, is an actor, which real quick, everyone goes, oh my god. But what I mean is, there are Star Trek actors who are like Jonathan Frakes is very steeped in Trek lore, and he's very part of the culture. Will Wheaton, same. Even Ethan Peck is becoming that now. I feel like Anson Mount is very much, hey, I love what I do. I love the character of Pike, but at the end of the day, I'm an actor. I read the lines they pay me to
He also loves his pottery.
Right. It's like, I'm not, so I don't, he's not, I do believe there will come a day and time when he's like, yeah, I'm done with all the convention circuit. I'm good. Probably once the show's over and past and we've moved on to Kirk and Pike is finally gone. I feel like that's going to be the end. That's going to be when he'll finally be like, I'm good, like
Right.
Scott Bakula has done. Scott Bakula has placed his price tag and nobody's met it, and it's okay. But he's like, I'll do conventions. You got to pay me $1 million. So I feel like Anson Mount will get there someday. He's just an actor who loves to be this character, but unlike everybody else who's like, I'm all about Star Trek, he's like, I'm an actor first.
Well, have you ever seen the wonderful footage from when William Shatner hosted Saturday Night Live?
Yes, I love it.
And the get a life thing.
Love it.
And so when he says, you guys have turned something I did as a lark, for 3 years and turned it into a colossal waste of time, right? So to him, he was like, hey, this is my job, and you guys are obsessing over it.
Yeah.
And so, I think that Anson Mount is Anson Mount first. Captain Pike just happens to be his current job.
Right. I agree.
And now he's good at it. I like him as Captain Pike. I don't want him to go anywhere until his arc is done. And when that happens, and I actually, something I talked to Ethan Peck about, I said, are you ready for a TOS reboot with you as Spock?
And what did he say?
He said, I'm down with that.
Yeah, he did. Oh, I love Ethan Peck so much. Mrs. Know-It-All lost it. As we're walking, I think I said this before on the show, but I'm going to say it again. We're walking through where they sign the little alley area where they go between doing stage stuff.
Yeah.
And we're approaching where Ethan Peck is. And she goes, Johnny, keep walking. And I'm like, okay, why? I thought she's like, no. She started getting hyperventilated. Like she was like, I can't. Give me a minute. And she goes, we got to go outside. And we went outside. She's like, really? He goes, I was so starstruck. I couldn't stop. I wasn't.
The funny thing is, my wife never has, we've been to a couple of cons. She's seen a few celebrities, and she doesn't freak out about it or anything. And she didn't freak out about Ethan Peck, but she was definitely digging the vibe there. She was like,
sure.
This guy is hot, and it's like, you don't think of it because you don't think Spock is but he's like, he has those features that work as Spock, but he's also in ridiculously good shape.
Yeah, no, he is. Oh my God.
He looks like he looks like he's a freaking bodybuilder. So, anyway. But Anson Mount.
All right, let's go ahead and let's switch over there. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead and bring up the screen. So this is Anson Mount's Twitter feed, and I have it set to where now what you see right up here at the top is this person basically posted a thing saying, "Memo to Hollywood: stop alienating half your audience."
Sure.
To which Anson Mount responded.
By the way, warning: if any of you are sensitive, we're not censoring language, so everything's gonna be very raw as it comes through.
Yes,
that isn't for my audience. That's not normal for me, but we're just talking about what's going on in the world. So just let's all be grown-ups.
Yes. So Anson Mount basically told the guy to F off. Now, do I think that this is the best response? You think it was?
No. Creep sent a message. Creep commented. He said,
Brokeback Mountain thing.
Did he have a nice butt, Salty? And the answer is yes, he did. And Salty didn't answer.
I actually didn't notice his butt. You'd had a maybe you could ask my wife. Maybe she noticed. I did not.
All I heard about was that. Go on. I'm sorry. Go on. We're talking very seriously.
I was just blown away by how nice the guy was, and humble. So humble. Which you don't. It's funny because you don't think actors generally aren't humble people.
No, not really, not at all.
Yeah, but he absolutely was. But anyway, so Anson Mount's response to this Kyle Hunter was F off. Now, was Kyle Hunter's message specifically to Anson Mount? No, it was basically just attacking Hollywood.
The whole of Anson Mount has told the internet to F off. And I was like, what?
No, he told this guy to F off.
He told Kyle.
He didn't say to all fans F off.
Right.
And so
he is not Shatner in that Saturday Night Live bit.
Yeah.
He's not going off on everybody.
Right. And I get, on the one hand, Kyle's message, to Hollywood, stop alienating half your audience. Obviously, I think he's referring to the fact that Hollywood tends to be left-leaning.
Very.
And so if you're a conservative, you're being alienated by Hollywood. Now, I get that,
I do too. I get the mentality. I understand.
Yeah, I do, and I truly do understand that, because that's something that frustrates me from time to time. Like, I watch a movie like Wicked, and I'm like rolling my eyes by the end of it because of all the overt messaging in the movie. Um, and the messaging in these movies is invariably liberal. Uh, but Hollywood has been that way for freaking ever. And at least since, like, I would say the 1970s. And
Agreed.
and the funny thing is that I'm sure that Kyle Hunter thinks that Terminator is a great movie. And by the way, Terminator, woke film. Completely woke film.
No.
Every man in the Terminator is incompetent, evil, or dead by the end of the film.
Is he one of the people who've been posting about all Trump voters being morons? I don't think it was
No,
that.
that's what's his name played, Tim Russ.
Yeah, Tim Russ. Tim Russ has been very, very outspoken.
Yeah. Now, Anson Mount is clearly a liberal and leftist in his, like, if you look at some of his other postings, sure, he is. He's. But you know what? So's everybody in freaking Hollywood.
Agreed.
I don't care about Anson Mount's personal political beliefs.
Not at all.
You know, and the fact that he happens to, you know, I'm sure he voted for Harris. I'm sure that, you know, and I'm sure that he supports the Democratic Party more than the Republicans. But
well, my view, and I told you this when we talked. Anson, when I read Anson Mount's stuff and I started going through them, it reads like a person, a man who is frustrated.
Right.
Frustrated because whatever, because of his politics, because of his view, because of how much he gets attacked by being part of the Hollywood machine, whatever.
Right.
And at the end of the day, it did not come across as people were trying. He didn't sound sanctimonious. He didn't sound like he was trying to be offensive. I've heard a lot of other pundits out there who are like, "There goes Hollywood being blah blah blah," and they want to lump Anson with all the other, with like the likes of the guy who plays the Hulk or whatever. You know what I mean? I can't remember his name right because he's not that
Mark
important.
Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, Mark Ruffalo's a whack job. I don't care what your politics are. Mark Ruffalo just goes upset.
But I like him as Bruce Banner.
I love him as Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's all their whole thing. And it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, but he's not like that. He's just frustrated, and I respect that. He's such a, like, when you watch him do his pottery stuff, just for as an example, he's a guy. Like, his garage could be my garage. He's not sitting here being overly hoity-toity Hollywood. He's just a guy who keeps getting attacked for one or two things that he's frustrated. It sounded like frustration. I'm sorry. That's what I'm boiling it down.
Yeah. And by the way, I want to point out, so Creep mentions that the psychologist survives in Terminator. Yeah, you mean the incompetent psychologist that was there for nothing more than, to be a joke? That guy?
Stanley says, I just mean that's where the alienating half your audience comment comes from, all the Hollywood people insulting all the Trump voters. I agree.
Yes.
I do agree with that. Absolutely.
The funny thing is that I think that Kyle just hit a nerve with Anson.
Yeah, my wife and I talk about it. You just get hit the wrong way, the wrong day, the wrong time. Someone says the thing, my daughter leaves one dish in the wrong place in the sink, and then we're like, what's going on? And it's just
right. Think about it like sometimes when Alex Bogey comes on or Darren Wagner and just pushes me one step too far. And I go off. Does that mean I hate the guy? No. It just means sometimes you just hit me the wrong way, and it's going to set me off.
Agreed.
Now, then Anson, trying to recover his sense of humor, says that he lost 6,000 followers since the election. Let's keep it going, people. Basically joking that, okay, Republicans are not following him anymore because
it sounds like sarcasm again. It's not. I don't see it. I'm not seeing anything mean or vitriolic. I'm seeing someone who has lashed out, and now he's like, you know what? I don't care. Forget you people. You want to get in and be, and I get it.
And that's, I've said that too. Is that, look, if you hate me so much that you just
why are we having this discussion?
Don't watch the channel. If you really hate me that much, don't watch the channel. And you know what happened? A lot of people stopped watching my channel. And
he's like, and now I wish
I wish I hadn't have said that. But at the same time, I think that it's coming from the same kind of place. It's like, hey, you know what? If you really hate me, then unfollow me.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Now this is interesting.
Well, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So this is a post that was put up here, but the account was suspended.
That is
Now,
interesting.
yeah, if you know anything about Elon Musk, it is hard to get your account suspended on Twitter nowadays.
Agreed.
So I don't know what the guy did that actually got him suspended. Um, However, fortunately, if you let's look up. There are a couple of articles that show you what was said, and that's what I'm.
You could always go to the internet. Sometimes the internet time machine will have. Stuff.
I don't know how Internet Time Machine works.
It's
So
weird. I know it's weird. It took me a while to figure it out too.
let's see. That's from July. Let's see.
And when I says it's easy, all you have to do is say something bad about Elon. That's hilarious. Bradley Briggs says, I agree. While you're looking for that, Bradley Briggs says, I agree with Salty. I love shows and movies and entertainment for what it is. But when the actors and the creators are a bit off in real life, it does affect the stuff they're in. Yeah, so that's what I had said to Salty as well. I said, look, because remember, I do understand where Anson Mount, the person, is coming from. If he and I were sitting here having a beer, I'd be like, bro, I feel you. But you work in a high-profile franchise with a rabid fan base.
Right. So
you are no longer allowed to be like that. You have to be more circumspect. Why? Because exactly what Bradley just said. It absolutely can affect potentially things. You know, if suddenly you go to conventions, now all of a sudden you might get more backlash in person. And you know what that'll end up doing? Getting it so Anson Mount doesn't go to conventions anymore.
Right.
And which would be horribly sad, but at the same time, it's like, can you blame him? Because he's got just as much right to say, "Well, I'm not coming anymore," as everybody does to say, "You're a dick" or whatever. You know, so, I don't know.
Oh wait, to answer Creep, how many timelines do I have for the Terminator?
Oh God, I hoped you'd miss that.
Yeah. No, it's a simple answer. Terminator has a new timeline for every movie.
Oh my God, yeah, we talked about that, didn't we?
Every Terminator movie changes history, and so there's a different timeline for every Terminator film.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so now I remember what happened. So this guy that's account was suspended,
Right.
basically posted, and this was a comment he posted directly at Anson Mount, saying that he should go to Blue Sky along with all the other leftists.
Right.
That they should basically leave Twitter.
Right.
And so this is the tweet that got the most flack from the Fandom Menace types from Anson Mount. Now, keep in mind, do you think Anson Mount is being serious in this tweet, or do you think it's just some humor?
I think it's sarcasm. I think it's frustration. I think he's getting to the point where he's like, "Whatever, man."
I think it's just
read that one. Just read it.
Yeah, if I did that, then I wouldn't be able to brainwash your children into transgenderism and perform the delicate data mining operations that will allow us to steal the next election for AOC, then force you into slavery with all the other white people.
Now, before anyone says a word, understand something. I am not sitting here going, "Did he just say that? How dare he?" I'm sitting here going, those are all the bullets that people on one side say about the other.
Yes.
Mount is he's in frustrated defensive mode. This whole thing makes sense. I don't agree with it, and I think the man needs to recognize he's in Star Trek and take a pause, even though everyone wants to believe suddenly that Star Trek is ultimately this super liberal show. And I'm just like, look, calm down. Let's all take a breath.
Right.
Everybody needs to just relax. This whole thing escalated faster, and it's like now it's just being fed by the rage bait folks out there who are like, "Oh, Anson Mount squaring up against the fandom," and I'm like, no.
Yeah, and I
saw what's her face from Miss Forgettable from the Acolyte. She square up against the fandom.
Right.
She squared up. Square up. I just made up a past tense version.
Score is past tense of square.
Yeah, square is for square. She squared up against the fandom. That's real. Yeah. This is just a frustrated human being. But you again want to go, Anson, chill out, bro.
Yeah.
Get it. I get you're mad. Calm down.
But the thing is that, so basically, if somebody is saying, you should.
Oh my God, I love you, Stan. Stanley said it best. Sarcasm does not translate to text.
It doesn't.
Brother,
However,
you are
and
so right.
that's the funny thing about this is that people that take this seriously, I will say this: I do not like you, I don't agree with what he posted here, but I clearly see this as being a joke. It's not a very good joke, but I see that it is a joke. I see that he's basically trying to throw their own talking points back at them as if that's what they're actually trying to do.
Right.
Which, I don't think that Anson Mount is trying to brainwash children into transgender.
Oh God, no, of course not. Hold on. I will say I think it's interesting. He pointed out they're trying to get AOC. No, I'm kidding. Like people are like,
Hilarious if AOC.
I saw that recently. Someone was like, "Look, this proves that the left is." I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? The man threw that out there as to be sarcastic, and you're literally falling into the pit. Stop it.
Now, and the thing, and what really got me thinking about this, and the reason that I contacted Mr. Know-It-All about we should talk about this, is there was a stream recently by the Salty Nerds podcast where they had Kadish and Vader on there, along with Odin, if you don't know him, big part of the Phantom Menace crew. And then, oh gosh, one other guy I'm forgetting. I apologize to that person. It's not intentional. And Nerdrotic was also there.
Sure.
And they were all just...
Because you got to get the big guns.
Yeah. And they were all just going off on Anson Mount like, oh, I can't believe, even if this is a joke, I can't believe that he would even mention this kind of thing. And it's like, wait. Aren't you the same group of people that was defending James Gunn coming back to the MCU when he was let go for what? Offensive tweets that were jokes.
See, but that's a different thing. It's not. But I'm saying that's their viewpoint. It's like, why? Because the thing is, because they can't support the fact that rage sells for them, and that's fine.
Right.
Look, you want to find everybody has to find their niche. You guys found yours in the lowest common denominator. I'm down. Fine. Dope. My feeling is I think we all can be bigger than this. I think we all can be better than this, especially when you're centered around Star Trek. Like that's a literal,
Star Trek is all about accepting people.
It's also all about dialogue.
Right.
It's about talking, not cussing people out and losing your witness and going, raising Cain on people.
Now, I think there are definitely some Star Trek actors that have gone off the deep end of the liberal, jelly or the liberal Kool-Aid, right? And Tim Russ, obviously one of them. Marina Sirtis, obviously one of them. Anson Mount, maybe. I haven't looked at enough of his tweets to really know, but, maybe he's heading in that direction. But you know what? They're all that doesn't mean that just because Marina Sirtis is Batwoman crazy doesn't mean I'm never going to watch TNG. Just because Tim Russ is straight up offensive.
Tim Russ has just been vile lately, and I love you.
If you're anything right of center, or you happen to be a Christian,
which, by the way, sight unseen. He doesn't even care. It's just like, oh, you identify as this? Well, clearly you are, and here's all the stereotypes. And you're like, what?
Yeah, Tim Russ will sit there and say, oh, Christians are all bigots and homophobes.
The least Vulcan guy ever.
Yeah, he really is. And so...
Infinite diversity and infinite combinations, unless it's these. Then it's not. Then it's like kind of infinite? Infinite-ish? Is that what we're going with?
Yeah. It's infinite minus right.
Right, exactly, correct.
It's infinite in half.
Yeah, for real.
Half of it. But you see, the thing is that half of infinity is still infinity.
Such wisdom.
Yes. But the... So yeah, you look at these people, but does that mean that Voyager sucks? Well, Voyager does kind of suck, but it's not because Tim Russ is
it's not because of Tim Russ or Jerry Ryan or anything. Okay, it's because Harry Kim never got promoted.
Yeah, that's really what. I mean, I do think that Paris and Janeway screwing and having lizard babies.
Okay, first off, Paris and Janeway, lizard people, not.
They were still Paris and Janeway. And we don't know, as far as Janeway is concerned, how far along in the transformation process she was.
Ew. They could have been like partial half, like the creatures from the Black Lagoon type version.
Because remember, Janeway seemed to have some knowledge of what was going on. after the fact when she was talking about how the females are the ones that initiate mating among,
That's
reptiles.
right. She's rough,
Which,
man.
I don't know if
All I
that's
know is this.
true, but
Anybody who worries about Janeway getting around, trust me, Kirk got around. We're good.
yeah, but Kirk might have done green women. But I
He
don't
might
think
have
ever,
done the green
I,
women, whatever.
but I can't. I don't think Kirk ever screwed a Gorn. You know, see, he didn't like stick his junk into the Horta.
No, for or the Mugatu or whatever.
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
you.
exactly.
I got you.
He did cross that kind of line.
So apparently, Tristan here is all about people manhandling them,
Yes.
which Kitty's social media brings out the best in all of us. Let's all hug.
Well, and that's the sad thing is social media is supposed to be just that. It's supposed to, improve society, but instead it's been such a dividing wedge because people just put out their unfiltered opinions.
A long time ago, I realized that social media is given everyone sort of a weirdly like that dark veil. You know what I'm saying? So all you have is a silhouette, and you can just be
Right.
like, I'm gonna tell you what I really think," and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
How
there
do
are times
you-
when you shouldn't really say what you really think.
yeah, inside voices, we like to call it around here.
And yeah, it's there's a very old saying. It predates most of you guys, but it says if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Agreed. Captain Joller says Kirk had taste, and I agree with you.
Kirk did have taste.
You did.
Apparently, Janeway had taste too, but her taste did not include mammals.
Womp womp.
And hey, Tuvok, screwed a sex toy in that one episode, so there's that.
Bradley Briggs says there were so many times where Janeway almost got around with a guy in Voyager. She would always stop at the last second, remembering, oh right, I'm married, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, but then her husband left her after,
Right, the first time they got communications from Starfleet back, and hers is like, "I'm so happy you're alive. So we thought you were dead, and I got remarried to your close friend." And you're like, "What?
Yeah.
What's going on?"
Yeah, Tasha Yar, she did a sex toy as well. That's true.
Oh, why would you do it? That's so mean, calling Data a toy. He's far more complicated than that.
Okay, he's a Japanese toy.
She did kind of get with that Irish hologram guy. I'm done with y'all. Oh my god.
She should have screwed Da Vinci in the holodeck.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, really, guys, that's what we're doing. Maestro Da Vinci.
But anyway, so my point here is that I think that the fandom hating on Anson Mount for this is just them looking for an excuse to hate on Anson Mount.
I agree. Mind you, I'm totally understanding where he came from, but at the same time, bro, shut your mouth. It's okay.
Yeah. He's just
Let me be your lawyer for a minute, Anson.
Yeah.
I'm speaking.
Yeah, he's just posting his raw feelings, and he probably shouldn't be because he is a celebrity.
Yeah.
And
But
that's
he's got to be just as loud as everybody who's talking crap.
right. But here's the stupid thing. So what's going to invariably come out of this is people are going to say, how dare they keep Anson Mount on as Captain Pike when he said these horrible things?
The character literally dies soon.
Right. No, but hear me out. Because who are they going to compare him to? Gina Carano. They're going to say, "Oh, Gina Carano, she didn't get her Star Wars series because she said mean things about liberals." And it's like, yeah, because you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Another old saying that a lot of people don't understand anymore.
And I'm sorry, it's not like you get a job with like places like Disney not knowing what you're getting into.
Right. So yeah, if you're going to sit there and work for Disney, and then say things that Disney disagrees with on a public platform like Twitter, don't expect to be working for Disney much longer. Now,
Agreed.
Anson Mount might have said some tasteless things here. He might have had, he shouldn't have thrown the F word at that person. But at the same time, he's not saying anything that Paramount's going to have a problem with.
No, I agree. I don't think you will either. Well, and most places handle things a lot like HBO is handling J.K. Rowling. This person is a free, independent person who's allowed to espouse anything they want to do, so long as it's not illegal or objectionable. At the end of the day, this has nothing to do with the project they're doing over here with us.
Right. That's
This
kind of
is
the Elon Musk attitude about Twitter.
right.
And by the way, and Stan, I know you say under your own name because, okay, well, it's Gina Carano's personal account. It's Anson Mount's personal account. Yes, but if you are a celebrity, you are, whether you want to, like, let's say that Chris Hemsworth starts posting, insane. Let's not even say that it's just something conservative. Let's say he goes straight up. He decides that he's a neo-Nazi, and he starts posting stuff that.
Not Thor.
I'm just saying, let's just go there. All right. So he's like, oh, I'm a neo-Nazi, Heil Hitler, and check out my swastika collection and all this stuff, right? Do you really think Marvel's going to?
I got my swastika
we need in the next
over here.
we need Thor in the next movie. That's what we need. No, they're going to be like, you're either going to recast Thor or you're just going to drop the character.
Agreed.
And so that's the price that comes with being a celebrity.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, because whether you like it or not, you are always a representative of your product. And so
and I know people hate that aspect sometimes, but it's like, I'm sorry, because here's the difference. Here's the real difference.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a YouTuber. However, your average Joe Blow on the street is not. So you're an actor, bro. That means you automatically garner a larger audience. Yes. People who care about what comes out of your mouth. So if all you're going to do, that's the very reason why all kinds of folks like Mark Ruffalo and whatnot, they're like, well, I have this platform that I've been graced with. I need to blah, blah, blah. And then fine, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, you do understand those actions come with repercussions, right?
Right. By the way,
that's like Rachel Ziegler and other people like that who think that they can just say anything they want and the fans are supposed to just move on with it. And I'm like, baby, you're representing things like Snow White. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? All these other people, the chicken in
and I think there's a reason you haven't seen Rachel in the public eye lately.
That's true.
I think Disney was embarrassed by that.
No, I get. Somebody sat her down and said, "Honey, we will not give you any more checks to cash if you don't shut your mouth."
Yeah. By the way, there's one more. If you can, there's one more tweet I want to show.
Oh yeah. Come on, hang on.
And so this is actually someone responding to Anson. And his name is "The Future is Red, Not Blue." Gee, I wonder what he believes. But anyways, and so his response to Anson's little joke was, "Another unhinged actor suffers a hissy fit and wants to groom children." So obviously taking it like he's not being sarcastic. Right? However, so Anson Mount responded to this guy. "I'll have you know that I graduated top of my class at Jethro's Cosmetology Institute of America, Chattanooga campus, and I'm fully qualified, sir."
I love him. I love him so much. That was a great response.
That was a good response.
That was an amazing response. Good for him. And by the way, I believe it with that hair. Okay? I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. I believe it from him with that hair.
Yes.
Oh, my God. That's great.
So I just wanted to throw that out there, that at least he hasn't totally lost it.
No, I know. The thing is, he does keep a really good sense of humor about stuff.
And like I said, when we met him at the con, he's, is he into Star Trek? No, but he seems like he seems like a guy I could hang out with.
But the other thing I noticed too is, you notice, and now this can be taken one of two ways. One is he's already had a couple of close calls and has begun to guild because he was a little bit arm's length with everyone.
Yes.
But once he kind of began to know, like my wife and I were just gushing about his pottery, he warmed up and came closer.
It's kind of the same thing. Like what I did was when I came over to his booth and I said, "Oh, I'd heard that you were getting into pottery. Tell
awesome.
me about that." And so then he told me the whole story about during COVID, he didn't have anything to do, so he started taking it up. And we just started talking about it. We weren't talking about, oh, so is Pike going to end up in the chair this season or something? Because he doesn't give a crap. And you could tell he doesn't give a crap. It's like, that would be like me asking, you're a cable installer, and I say, so next week you can install one of those new digital boxes. You don't care. You're just like, that's my job.
But then you go around the corner and you talk to Ethan Peck, and Ethan's like, oh, Star Trek. Can you imagine if it was like this and this and that? And he's like so into it.
Yes.
That you're like, I love you, Ethan. You're carrying the torch so well.
Yeah.
God love you.
Ethan embraces the fact that he is now tied to Star Trek forever.
Bradley Briggs points out when you hire nothing but aggressively progressive people to act or create entertainment, it affects the things they're in and making, and not always in good ways like they think it will be.
Well, here's a problem, Bradley.
I
And
don't have a problem with that viewpoint.
now I know that Mr. Know-it-all's most of his experience is on the production side of things. I actually come from a musical theater background. I know that might shock some of you, but I did a lot of musical theater when I was a young
You
man.
look like a musical theater kid.
Do I?
No.
I was actually in high school. I was president of the drama club, and then I did a bunch of local theater stuff in the San Francisco Bay Area when I was young.
Right.
And it's not that Hollywood is seeking out and hiring progressive people. It's that the mindset to be an actor requires that. If a conservative actor is almost a contradiction in terms. And I will tell you, I was as liberal as they got when I was deep in the community theater scene. It's one of those things, because to be a decent actor, you have to really be in touch with emotion, how to project emotion, how to understand emotion. Emotion is everything to an actor. And guess what conservatism is about? Analytics, logic. There is a difference. Liberalism as a whole is generally about the feels, about what feels like the right thing to do. Oh gosh, can't we just love these people? Can't we just
I feel it in my gut. And you're like,
Yeah.
what?
That's what liberalism is all about. And that's also what acting is all about.
No, agreed. And it's funny when you do see the ones who suddenly start, like Zachary Levi is getting so much crap for coming out for Trump and whatnot, which again, I don't care one way or another. This is not a political discussion. But what I love is Zachary Levi he's been an amazing actor. From Chuck, which was a wonderful series, on to doing the Shazam movies, which Mrs. Noel.
I love them in Shazam.
Dude, I loved those. It's funny. I went into them thinking they were going to be stupid, and then I watched them, and I'm like, these are good.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? Anyway, so yeah, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, but so as far as the emotionalism, that's a natural thing that tends to lean left. Not not 100%, but nothing is 100% in human behavior. But I would say 90% of actors are going to lean left.
Yeah.
And if you look at Hollywood, that's about the ratio you got. And
My issue, look, I've never had an issue with that. My issue is the disproportionate behavior that happens. So anybody, and I guess we'll use Gina Carano. She's the largest example, in my opinion, in terms of how long that's gone. And it's where especially because in the span of a few days, other actors from Disney projects did similar, if not worse, things than she did.
But they did these things offending the other side.
Correct. And so and it was very blatantly obvious that there was a bias going on.
Right.
And so you go, what? That's my problem. My problem is not that there are liberal actors and non-conservative actors, whatever. My problem is like, dude, why don't you be the thing? Just be that. Whatever. Be open and be. Why can't we all just communicate and discourse and talk like human beings? Here's the thing. You guys act in stuff where people are rational. Where is the insanity coming from?
Right.
Just follow. Do you need a writer to write you a sane monologue?
Well, that's the funny thing is you would think that every movie should look like Wicked, the way that people behave. And when I say that, I don't mean that Wicked is Wicked is so hyper emotional, because it's done as a stage play, And if you've ever seen stage plays, emotions are amplified to 11 all the time on stage.
Agreed.
And Wicked
Creep asked the question: Is citing on something to get more people to like you an emotion? No, Creep. It's not an emotion. What it is, it's pandering. Meaning, and mind you, what else would you expect from people whose job it is to professionally lie for a living? I'm going to tell you that I am someone else entirely, and I'm going to tell you all these things and blah blah blah, to the point that you kind of lose who you are.
And the funny thing is, and I know this is going to sound horrible, but
Since when has that stopped the salty one?
So you have blatant pandering on both sides of the political aisle
all the time.
I think the motivations are a little different. I think that for liberals, they want you to join the cause. They want you to become a true believer. For conservatives, they want to make money. And like, so when you look at people like the Phantom Menace that are basically on the right side of the aisle as far as this type of stuff, guess what? They're doing it for clicks. They're doing it for money.
Sure.
And when you look at people that are like, oh my God, you have to love Star Trek Discovery, like Mr. Know-It-All, and they're doing it because they want you to join their cause.
Right on. I love it.
All right,
Oh
so
my gosh,
we have to talk about Dune.
we do. Let's get into some Dune.
Did you set up a slide for Dune?
I do have one. I do have one from the one we did last week.
So you didn't?
What? Yeah, of course. Ta-da! Told you we had one.
Yeah, but it's the same one from last week, so you didn't do anything new.
That's because it's the same show. What do you want me to say? You want me to change these to Arrakis screens now? All of a sudden?
You should.
Shut up! No, get out of here. When we make enough money to hire an intern, I'll totally do that.
Okay. Well, interns don't get paid, so we have enough money.
That's right. No, totally. My intern's sleeping right here with his new sweater on. It says, "I ate Santa's cookies." Where's yours? Where's your intern?
My intern is sitting right here sleeping.
See, they sleep with
she weighs about 4 pounds.
Oh, that little one, they're so cute. Anyway, yeah. So Dune this week, man. I tell you what, I liked where they went. Again, the show keeps hitting really well, and it's doing a really good job. What are some of your thoughts?
Well, I not to sound like a broken record, but like I said last week, this is the Acolyte done right.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Especially because what are they doing? They're trying to raise up the perfect version of whatever student or they need, or they're through a breeding program,
right. Notice they use the word acolyte another few times in episode 2. I just think it's hilarious that the word acolyte keeps coming up in this show more than it did in the show called The Acolyte.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Well, no, the Acolyte, the show only ended up using it at the very end when they were trying to justify.
I want an acolyte.
Correct.
Great. An acolyte just means an adherent, right? So it's not really that special a word. But
no, yeah, it's just right. It's just an adherent. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But they loved. So this episode, they are dealing with the aftermath from last week's events, which, if you remember, the child of one of the great houses ended up being, he was murdered by the zealot. We're going to call him the zealot.
Yeah. Who has supernatural powers.
Apparently, and I'm hoping Chicky, the mother superior, the lady right up there, I'm hoping she ends up like learning some abilities. I'm hoping at the end of this, they roll in, because he's got abilities that look like Bene Gesserit abilities later down the road.
Right.
And so I'm very curious about what that means. So yeah.
I'm wondering if so I gotta say the tension when Mother Superior confronted him and they did their little battle of the psychic powers.
Say it again?
The tension from that scene when she's like, "Take out your blade," and he does it.
The weirding word. Oh.
And I got the feeling he was genuinely struggling.
Right, and then
I don't think he was toying with her the whole time. But
I don't think so either.
Yeah, but I think that he finally broke it, and that's when he smiled.
And you saw her blanch. She was like,
"Yeah,
what is this?"
And so,
I don't know. See, the problem is, she just now, because she was impatient, tipped her hand.
Right.
No one aside from her and maybe a handful of her sisters knew she had that ability.
Right.
And now she's told it to probably their worst enemy ever. So I'm like, okay. And Stanley asked, or was he just messing with her? I think he was messing with her later. Like, I think at the very beginning, though, I think that was real, because you notice he was a little surprised. At least that's
right. And the thing is that nobody except for the one other sister had ever heard the voice before.
That's right. That's right.
And so, I think that the initial him pulling out the blade and holding it up to his throat, I thought that was real. But then he realized that he was stronger than that. And so he let her go on and on and on, thinking, yeah, I already got this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that he might become the inspiration for Paul Atreides.
I could see that.
and that she sees that the Bene Gesserit way combined with what he can do would bring out the knick-knack paddywhack.
Oh, no, remember, hold on. They're not the Bene Gesserit yet.
Yeah, I know, but
They will be. I feel like that's important though. I don't know. I feel like by the end of this, I feel like they will take that name, or they will
I don't know if
eventually.
they'll do it by the end of season 1, but
No. By the end of whatever the run is for this show, I think that's going to be the buildup. Is
Right.
building up to. We're watching the origin of this sisterhood. How
Well,
many
I think since it's called Dune Prophecy, I think we're going to see the origin of the Paul Atreides prophecy.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely, we are. I'm with you 100%. I
And
think
so that's
remember
why I think this guy has something to do with it, because I think they're going to realize that a woman can't do certain things. That, and even though that might come across as somewhat sexist,
Oh
oh
no, but
no,
that's how nature is too. Female
right? Is
lions
that
fight with
men
their
and
back.
women have different strengths,
You know,
and
female lions fight with their back claws versus the male lions who beat with their front ones. So
right.
it's just a thing. I don't. That's
Right.
how I
And
see it
so
anyway.
I think that what they're going to discover is that, like, the Bene Gesserits themselves are brilliant manipulators, but they need a warrior, and that's not what they are.
It isn't who they are. I wonder if we're ever going to get the origin of. I wonder if we're going to get like the Gom Jabbar. If we're going to get more like the Box of Pain. If we're going to like, I'm wondering what we're going to see.
Oh, we will see the box of pain. I saw that in a trailer.
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, cool. Cool. Can't wait to
But
see
but yeah. So I think that I like what they're doing with the show. I think that this feels like it's the same universe. I still, though, every time they talk about the war with the living machines, I'm like, why are we not watching a show about that?
What about the Fremen girl who they give the blue, they give the one drop of the poison, the worm, the great worm poison to
Oh, to make her like communicate with her past.
ancestors.
Yeah.
First off, wasn't that the creepy, like if that's how I see my ancestors, oh my god, I don't want to see them ever.
Yeah.
That is so terrifying. She's in this weird like darkness of her mind, and there's like these zombie type women, and I thought it was going to be the former Mother Superior, and it turned out to not be. It turned out to be Homegirl, who's friggin'
Well,
mom was the one
what
murdered.
that probably means is that she is related to Mother Superior.
Was she?
Because remember, they did say she's the granddaughter of the Mother Superior, right? The girl they
Yeah.
gave the stuff to. So,
That's
but she
what I
didn't
told
know. But she didn't know her mother.
But her mother was the other lady that she killed with the weirding word in the first episode? Was that
I'm thinking that was her mom.
was the daughter of the Mother Superior?
It's possible.
I hate you. I thought you knew for sure. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah,
No,
I don't know for sure because this is not, as far as I know, this is not stuff from the books. So
No. All of it. Well, okay, that's not true. So this is.
I think there are elements they're taking from the book.
Right. This is so that they've done is they've gone through all the books, both Frank and later on his sons' books, and they've basically taken every reference to the origin of the Bene Gesserit, put it together, kind of like how some people try to piece scenes together from trailers and stuff.
Right.
They've put it all together and they've said, okay, these are the holes, and this is the story we're going to tell, connecting these dots. So they're trying to base this on things people have said, but
Right.
now it becomes, well, how much of that is 10,000 years of propaganda? And how much of it is real? And what we're getting is some form of a distilled version of that type of information.
Right. And so yeah, Stanley points out that Mother Superior was with her daughter, but then asked for the other girl.
Good. Thank you, Stan. Okay, I thought that might have been the case. I couldn't remember exactly. That's why I didn't say that. Okay, right on. Thank you.
And remember, they also said when they took the poison that it's racial memory that she's accessing.
Right. It has to do with her
Which means
DNA.
that they have to be related to her by blood.
Right.
And not only that, they have to be direct descendants. Because like you wouldn't get a racial memory from your cousin,
No, you
but you would from your mother and your father and then their
bloodline.
mothers. Yeah.
Right. Right on.
So even though racial memory is, by the way, not a real thing for those of you that think it is, but it's an interesting idea.
I'm sorry, I think you're on the wrong channel for that. If you want to expose that information, go to youtube.com/exposed.
That was not. That's not the kind. No, the Exposed channel is not freaking.
It's not Exposed.
The X Files and stuff. Yeah.
It's not. No, I'm kidding. I don't know.
Today we're going to talk about Bigfoot. Is he real?
Are you sure? I thought the blue poison was the poison from the great worm. I ultimately thought that's how they discovered that they
They
used.
didn't say in that episode. So we don't know if that is and I'm kind of with Ben on this. I don't think that it's the same
Okay,
poison.
I'll have to rewatch that part because I thought
But
for some reason
you're
I
talking
thought
about
I thought it was,
the living water is what they drink from on
yeah,
the
right.
rest.
Water of life, Stanley
Or
points
yeah,
out.
the water of life. Living water is a Christian thing. But yeah, the water of life. But the water of life is specific to that one group of Fremen.
Right.
And now I don't know if that's consistent with the books, but at least from the movies that we saw, there's just a group of Fremen that have access to it, which means that how do the rest of the unless then that could be another thing that becomes a part of this series is them discovering the water of life,
Sure.
and that unlocks their full potential.
Well, so it's funny. I stop and I sit here and I probably needed to find somebody who's more of a Dune head, like I was really into Dune hardcore, to ask the question. I wonder if the using of the baby worms and they discovered this poison does that imply that the worms have a some sort of a genetic memory themselves?
Could be.
Because I'm just, and again, I know they're quote unquote mindless creatures, so to speak, but or are they, or are they just vastly like, okay, like, is that why they stop in front of Paul? Not
Right.
because they know, because he's special, but because they also can see the future of events and things like that, and somehow are like, oh, we're supposed to like,
Well, if their blood can cause people to be able to see the future, it would make sense that they can see the future.
agreed. And I've never heard that talked about, so that's brilliant. I
Right.
love that idea.
And keep in mind the spice is also a byproduct of the worm.
Yeah, it's called poop.
Yeah. Well, is it poop or is it just decomposed worm?
That's a great question because I don't know.
Because
Ooh.
the closest we got, like in the David Lynch film, he said the spice is the worm is the spice. So that to me makes it sound like if a worm dies, it decomposes into spice.
Interesting.
That's how I took it.
Sure.
But like what I'm thinking of is you also have in the classic Dune that it was risky for Paul to drink the water,
Right.
but not for his mother. And his mother was already a Bene Gesserit.
Right. Yes, she was full blown.
And so it seems
She was
like
part of the breeding program.
Huh?
She was part of the breeding program.
Right, but so was Paul technically, although she, broke the rules by having a son.
Right.
But but what I'm thinking is, okay, why is it deadly for men to drink the water but not women? Well, that could be like, and then flip over to the
Hey, Tristan, thank you for stopping by, brother.
Have a good one, Tristan. You flip back over to this show, and when they give her the poison does in fact kill her. At the end of the episode, remember, it does actually.
Does it? See, I don't know if it killed her or not. Did it? I got that she was, but maybe it did. Maybe it did.
Yeah.
I don't know that, but I feel like nobody was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe she's dead." Like it was so, and maybe they'll open the next episode with, "Oh my god, I can't believe she's dead."
Well, it's like when you lie there not breathing with your eyes open, I think that you're dead.
I don't know, man. I've seen lots of crazy things in these sci-fis. Somebody goes in and you find out a few seconds later, she's, after the fact into the next episode or whatever.
Well, I know it can happen, but at the same time, I think she's dead. But they were also talking about the insane risk of this poison.
Right.
That this poison, you have to focus your immune system to basically fight off this poison, or you will die. There were, as far as the water of life, I didn't get the feeling that women would generally, Bene Gesserit wouldn't generally be at any risk in taking it, but men were not allowed to because they die every single time they've tried it.
Right. Well, it also might be because men aren't normal. Men didn't have that history.
Right.
So like it's
But that's where Paul Atreides becomes the chosen one, is that he's the one man that can drink the water of life and truly unlock the warrior potential of the Bene Gesserit.
See, Ben One Eye points out in the book when Paul took the water, they thought he was dead. It's interesting. I didn't know that.
But remember, Paul's mother warned him that every man that's ever taken the water has died.
There you go.
And so just eat that turkey slow. It's full of them bones.
They're having a conversation.
Okay. Well, you highlighted it. I thought
I
there
know.
was some meaning to it.
No, just pointing out every now and again, our chat has interesting stuff they talk about, so I thought I'd highlight it.
Oh, F them. Oh, sorry.
Just
Sorry,
like Anson Mount,
my
just
inner
like your
Anson
hero.
Mount came out for a second. I don't know what happened. So, yeah, so I think that I think Ben and One Eye is right. I think it's a different poison. But I also think that there's more, there's basically, I think we're going to see the development of the water of life. We're going to see the development of the prophecy for Paul. And I think that not Channing Tatum is going to convince them that they
Not
need.
Channing Tatum. I forgot you said that last time.
Yeah, isn't that his name?
That's awesome. It should be. It is now. It's homie who's in Atreides,
Yeah.
the one who broke up with the princess.
And then it would further make sense that if not Channing Tatum, so if he is an Atreides, then it would make sense that they figure there's something about the House Atreides, and that might be why Paul.
Hold on, I'm sorry. House who?
House Atreides.
You're like, I noticed that you're
I enunciated it more.
enunciating every one of those
Atreides.
Atreides. I was like, hey, right on, man. It could be right. What do I know?
Yeah.
All I know is these shows.
So I think there's something there. I think
Fair enough. No, that's fair. That's totally fair.
It would make sense that if, in fact, this guy's an Atreides, and so they like, okay, maybe another Atreides in a future generation can help us, or that could be like what inspired Paul's mother to try.
Right. I feel like when it comes to these shows, I feel like I'm definitely of the mind that I'm enjoying this because I don't know everything. Mm-hmm. When it comes to this, I've never been a Dune person, big hardcore fan. Like I've never read the books a lot of times.
I've never read the books. So
like I know that and I know that Ben, when I pointed out, there's other people out there who are very deep into the lore and the books and stuff. I'm sort of enjoying it on its face value to learn these things. The same way, like with Game of Thrones, I didn't even know there were books before the first season of Game of Thrones aired. And then I found out, there's books because people were mad because things were.
Did the brother and sister screw in the first book?
I don't know. I guess I don't know. But all I know is that the point is that people I learned, there's books about this. Same thing with I knew about Dune books, but I never really read them. So the shows are really giving me much more backstory. And people are like, "What? You don't know anything if you don't know the books?" Whatever, man. They're good. Okay. Denis Villeneuve's doing the Lord's work. He's creating the stuff, and I have creating this version of it, and I'm down. Like I couldn't tell you. Normally, I'd be like, "So where do you think it's going to go from here?" I've got no clue, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm ready to just watch and see what. Because
unlike the Acolyte, it's actually got you.
Right? Mother Superior. The thing is that, God, you're so right. Unlike the Acolyte, I want to know what's next.
Right.
I'm like, this looks amazing. Whereas the Acolyte felt like a labor of love. I was like, well, I'm here. I'm committed. The fans have asked, I'm doing Star Wars. I guess we'll just do it. Whatever.
Yeah. Now, I assume we're going to have a couple of minutes of open time, but give me just a second because T'Pring needs to get down for a second. I'll be right.
Yeah, no problem. You're good. Yeah. So then, of course, there was Ben points out. Don't forget also that the Mother Superior is a Harkonnen. I know. I was blown away by that fact in the very beginning when they introduce her, and then later on when they bring it back up, and even when they mentioned the Atreides person, and you notice the Mother Superior was like, "What was this?" So yeah, it was. I thought it was an interesting thing. I'm really digging the fact. I'm digging the machination. This really is Game of Thrones in space, and I never got that vibe from regular Dune. Regular Dune, though it does have a lot of that going on, it never felt as machination and backroom dealings and interwoven plans upon plans upon plans like this does. So this is definitely giving me much more of an arc when it comes to a lot of the stuff. Ben One Eye points out, to be fair, for us Dune heads, it's the same. We don't know where it's going to go either. That's awesome. I love that, Ben. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I would love to kind of see. I need to probably consider picking up the books at some point, or at the very least, finding a really good audiobook that I can listen to while doing other stuff. Because I do want to know a little bit more about what the backstory is. I know that Comic Book Girl 19 did a long time ago. She did a Dune read Dune book club and the whole bunch of stuff, but the videos are still on her channel, youtube.com/comic book girl 19. And she did a whole thing about Dune, and where they went through 3 books or something. And so she really went deep dive, and I got a lot of my early quote unquote education on the background stuff from them. She's got some really interesting insights, so you might want to always check her out as well if you want to see what they go over. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good stuff. Everything okay? Pring make it out okay?
Yeah, she's fine.
Right.
Although I gotta say, because I heard you saying this when I was, it's Harkonnen, dang it!
Harkonnen, right on, man. I'm like Harkonnen.
I hate that.
Remember back in the 80s, they didn't know how to pronounce it either.
Yeah,
you're right. I do believe it's Harkonnen.
Well, then Harkonnen is how they said it in the David Lynch film.
Okay.
And Harkonnen is how they say it in everything else.
I think that's how Josh Brolin said it. He's all like, yeah, Harkonnen, and you're blah blah blah, and you're like, okay, thank you, Thanos. Yeah, I liked it, but yeah, I love that. Did you hear what I said? What Ben when I said? He goes, yeah, we're us Dune heads. We're also trying to figure this thing out too.
Yeah, great. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how all this unfolds. The nice thing is, there's a million different things they could do. And the question is, which one will they do? And you don't know. Like I think a problem that we have with so many of these shows is, exactly where it's look. I know I'm one of the very few people that actually enjoyed the Obi-Wan series, but you knew from the first moment that the series started that it was going to end with Vader and Obi-Wan fighting.
Absolutely, and because I told everybody, I said I believe that show hinges on the line that Vader says.
Right.
Okay. It hinges on when the last time we met, I would learn. Now you are the master. Blah blah blah. It hinged on that whole thing, and you're like, oh, so there was a last time they met. It's not just the big fight we thought it was in Sith.
Right. And I like the fact that when I think it adds to the lore. It doesn't destroy the lore. Yeah, the Leia thing was whatever, but. They needed,
agreed.
They needed something to get things going, and they couldn't very well have Luke get involved because Luke was completely ignorant of everything.
Didn't even know who Ben is at that point.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder if they mean old Ben.
For real. No, that's exactly how it should be.
Yeah. I don't know Joseph Stalin, but old Ben Stalin lives down there.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, Lordy.
I don't know Joseph, but I know Joe.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, no, but it's not even like... So, did he think Obi-Wan was a pseudonym for Old Ben? Since...
I could see that. Obi-Wan, Old Ben. I could see that.
Yeah, except that he wasn't old when he...
No.
First started, so...
Well, I mean, technically, compared to everyone, compared to children, every adult is old.
Yeah.
Seriously. My kid thinks that my kid's 2 years from being 20, and she goes, oh, yeah, I'm getting old. And I was like, I'm sorry? I almost spit my coffee.
Yeah, my daughter said that. I wanted to hit her. But yeah, I think about the Family Guy. I'm not a fan of the Family Guy show, but I love the Family Guy Star Wars things.
Yes,
and
wonderful.
One of them was like their version of that scene was Luke goes, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder if they mean Obi-Wan Kenobi that lives over there.
That's hilarious. And like literally he's pointing. It's like right over there.
Yeah, it's Obi-Wan.
Right on. Oh my goodness. I tell you what, it's been a good weekend. It's been a good week though, and a good weekend. So, hey, look who's there. Darren Wagner shows up in the clutch.
Wow, that's a name.
Thank you for joining us, sir.
That's pretty jacked up there, Darren. I gotta say, that's
What? I think did he say he says salty? Oh, I didn't see it. Sorry.
you didn't see that.
Nope, didn't see it at all. That's me being subtle. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, I don't. It's funny. I don't do nearly the stuff he wants me to do, but every now and again, I'm like, I'll let that one slide.
Yeah.
Because again, he's feeding me stuff constantly. I have video now. I have the salt deep monster video.
Oh, there's a video of it.
Oh my god, I'll send it to you. It's great. Creep
It's not
goes,
a
how
video,
do you
but-
know Decker's salty? Rock salt, coarse grade.
Wow, you even okay? Well, Darren, while you're down there gobbling the old knob there, I hope
I don't know why that's me. That tickled me so much.
it's the beard. that's what tickled you.
That's right. He's like, well, since you're down there,
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
yeah. So rock salt. That's right, baby.
So if we want to, are you good with Dune? You want to talk more about it, or
No, I think.
I want to shift slightly over to some other stuff about.
Okay, sure. What's that?
No, just we talked a little bit about. So they put out more BTS stuff from this Otoy thing.
BTS.
And I guess they had behind the scenes.
Oh.
And there was one thing that they had shown like investors, and it was green screen footage, and then of how the process works. And they also showed getting in the makeup chair, because obviously Sam Witwer doesn't have hair like Shatner's hair back in the day, and the makeup artist had like reference photos and the whole bit, and was really doing their best to make a very solid looking Shatner hair wig. Which I'm like, couldn't you just call Shatner and say, "Can we borrow one of your old hair wigs?"
Right.
Because the guy wore a piece anyway. But yeah, it's Creep says give thanks while you're gobbling knobs. And I feel like, so I liked seeing that behind the scenes stuff, and also like what all that means for the future of Star Trek potentially.
As far as using that technology, I don't know, because I know that there are some people that are like, oh, we need to have nothing but we need full shows with digitized Shatner and stuff, and
No, and I don't know that we need that, but I feel like being able to use the characters again. So, like, even if you're going to show us something older and whatnot, don't get me wrong. Mind you, I don't think you have a place for that. I think if you're going to do it, you got to do it the way we talked about. Because, for instance, I like what Strange New Worlds is doing. And I don't know that you can have a universe where you have two sets of things going forward. I think you do a great triple timeline style, I'm not being funny, style episode where when you want to try to bring things together, maybe multiverse it to try to bring it all together again. And you then absolutely use something like this and have like the old crew and the old bridge on a screen, kind of like we talked about with Next Gen, or with Lower Decks, having a live action version that's only on the monitor. Right. I think that you could totally do that.
No, I think that would be fine, but I just don't want people to start thinking that we should do entire shows based on CG characters. Which, by the way, besides the fact that it just seems a little creepy to have a bunch of dead people be your main characters, it also
I hate you so much.
Well, I mean,
look, it's kind of creepy. You got nothing but dead people as your cast, okay?
Yeah, but
can you imagine Will Wheaton having to do an interview with dead Kirk?
Yeah. But besides that, it's also insanely expensive. Like, you cannot do an entire. Why do you think? I know everybody hates She-Hulk, but if you look at the She-Hulk series, why do you think she spent most of the time as Jennifer, not as She-Hulk?
It costs money.
Yeah.
Well, then also notice Otoy's, these videos have all been 2 minutes, 4 minutes. Like, there's nothing, and then people put them together. There's nothing that's like, here's a 30-minute episode of a thing. It's like, it's all small pieces. So
right. And even then, it's like they try to cheat away as much stuff as they can. Like they purposely try to show Captain Kirk from the back a lot or from a distance so that they don't have to use the digital tech.
But can I tell you what worked really well for me? The moment when Kirk's walking through the garden and they just focus on his hand, I don't know why, but I believed that was William Shatner. It might even have been.
Yeah, the hand, maybe it was.
Like that would be cool to think that they at least had that kind of moment.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was, but I thought to myself, this look like I believe it.
Right.
Where sometimes they show stuff and you're like, I don't know, that's whatever. I was like, that's William Shatner's hand. That's
Yeah, I
absolutely
didn't buy it when you saw him from like because there's a couple of shots in there where you can tell that it's the prosthesis and not the digital. Like particularly when they show him from a little bit of a distance,
sure,
and his silhouette looks a little more like Sam than like William Shatner.
sure. Or when he's when they use the digital on him as young Kirk and he does the head turn. If you look closely, right about the point where his front of his face is not visible enough, the edge of his face is not the same as the face we just saw.
Right.
Which I thought, I was like, okay, I get it. I see.
Yeah. So it's
I
not
see the edges.
but they had to cut corners where they could.
Tell you what, though, they did an amazing. I was so blown away by the end result. I feel like that that tells me, like, guys, put effort into this. Now you give them the resources of, say, Paramount, and I think you could do something plausible, especially when you're looking down the barrel of Disney with de-aged Luke, and now you potentially could de-age Kirk or whatever. You know what I mean? I feel, and they're both essentially the same thing. It's some form of I feel like deepfake is not respectful enough, but this digital prosthesis technology, at its core, it's doing the same thing. And I feel like, I hope this isn't some sort of a weird run up to an arms race of how soon can we get these things to be a certain type of thing, you know? So I don't know.
Well, like I said, I'm just torn on the idea that look, I'd rather they move forward for the most part. They can use this tech for the occasional scene, the occasional guest spot, if you will. I just don't want this to become the standard.
Okay, that's fair.
That's my fear, is because you know what? There are plenty of great young actors that can play new parts in Star Trek for generations to come. No pun intended there. And so there's no need to keep rehashing those old scientists.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
How long till James Cameron doesn't have to deal with actors at all?
Yeah, James Cameron would be very happy with nothing that it did.
I feel like we've sort of gone into, no pun intended because of the content we're talking about, warp when it comes to, like, James Cameron was like, it took us 20 years to get technology enough to do the next Avatar movie. And it's like, you don't even need that much anymore.
Right.
You don't need actors. You don't need, like, come on, James, do your thing, bro. You got the blue people. You
do AI voices and algorithms to do the animations and yeah. I mean, after all, you're just. It's not like you're telling any compelling original stories. So just show us cool blue people, and apparently people will plop down $1 billion for it. So why not?
Absolutely, and I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, well, James Cameron, definitely a conservative.
That's awesome. It's like, you want to be a conservative? Give him a whole lot of money, okay? And be like, guess what? Now we're taxing you.
Yeah. So, but he's a smart, like that's why he made all those woke movies, like Terminator and Aliens, because he's like, yeah, I can cash in on this whole woke thing.
Ben, when I asked, by the way, wasn't he supposed to have made 3 new Avatar movies? Where are they? Not that I'm dying to see them, but still.
Avatar 2 and 3 are in production, or Avatar 3 and 4, I should say, are in production.
The 3 actually, I think 3 comes out either next year or the year after.
Yeah.
I think 2026.
Yeah.
And they're all being filmed at the same time. They're doing a Matrix. They're all being filmed one after another together. I think they're giving them like a month or 2 off, but otherwise they're running through everything.
Yeah. Not that honestly, when I finally watched The Way of Water on Disney Plus, and I gotta say, because here's the thing, I know that he developed, better and better visuals for the show. I get that, and I certainly applaud James Cameron, just like George Lucas, for being a pioneer in visual effects. That being said, Avatar 2 the story sucked just as much as Avatar.
It's the same story.
It's the same
Like,
story.
literally, they spent the first 15 minutes rolling back the first movie, resetting everything, and
Right.
basically being like, we thought we pushed them off, but we really didn't. Now they're all coming, now they're here again, and we have to run and hide with a new tribe and try to fight the crazy white colonizers from space.
And
And,
look, Sigourney Weaver had a kid
and,
while she was dead.
yes.
And it happens to have sound like Sigourney Weaver because it's voiced by Sigourney Weaver.
You see Stan going deep cuts. He goes, figure they have enough kinesiology information to animate everything. He's talking about, he's going back to a comment he made about the emotions,
Yeah.
which I didn't put because at the time I didn't find it relevant, but it's right here. Right. Do they even need actors for the emotion capture? Right? That's a great question, brother.
I think they still do. Like I've used a couple of those voice AI programs, and they have a difficult time with anything other than flat speech.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why like the voice synthesis thing is picking up right now, which is performances with you still need a voice actor or someone who knows how to emote and someone who can actually act a line out, and then you can overlay on top of it. Same exact thing with this. I feel like you still gonna have to have somebody who can give you that face.
For now.
That's why the little camera pointing at your face with all the dots is still important and relevant
For now.
for now.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, even improving that technology is only going to open the door for better versions of things that don't need that technology. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but the problem that I have is that I don't want, I think AI is an effective tool for some scenarios, but I don't want the entire entertainment industry to be taken over by AI. As much as I find Hollywood elitists to be absolutely horrible people, I don't necessarily want them replaced with AI. Because
I mean,
who
I
you
guess
going
a
to
couple I wouldn't mind to see replaced with AI.
Yeah. How can I say F you Ryan Johnson if Ryan Johnson is just a computer program?
Because then you're talking to the animators, and then you're talking to the movie
No,
film.
but the animators are computer programs.
Then you're talking to the programmers.
But the program was made by other
You
intuitive
still no,
AI
I
programs.
don't think we've reached that place because the thing is, you're talking about genuine autonomous creativity. Autonomous creativity we don't have yet.
Right.
Because
Well,
the AI can because understand everything's built on large language models. Why? Because all we have
I know, but
is the content we've created over years in order to tell something mimic this. They don't the program we're telling to mimic this still doesn't understand the why it's mimicking this. What this does, they don't understand. All it understands is in the microcosm of the spider web of stuff. This connects to this. If you watched Westworld at all, it's when they showed Tandy Newton. She opened up the computer thing for the mechanic, and they showed the line of thought, and it was all these trees and branching thoughts and ideas, and you could see like an episode back worth of stuff. And it's like you could have gone this way and on this way, but if this happens, do this, and it's this giant self-propelling series of events, which I thought was actually kind of brilliant.
so
There you go. You can still Ben One Eye points out you can still say "f you," but you have to convert it to zeros and ones.
yeah. So here's a story. In a lush hidden forest far from the eyes of humankind lived a tribe of 10-foot tall blue-skinned people called the Thalarians. Their skin was the color of the deep ocean waves shimmering in the moonlight, and their hair flowed like silver streams of water, catching the sunlight as they moved through the trees. They were not like any humans, nor were they like the creatures that roam the forest. They were the guardians of the forest, protectors of its ancient secrets. Now that's the opening paragraph of what I prompted ChatGPT with. Tell a story about 10-foot tall blue people living in a forest. Tell me that doesn't sound like Avatar.
Tell me a story about a 10-foot blue people tribe, or tribe of. I feel like
They're the protectors of the ancient secrets of the forest. They're the guardians of nature. It's Avatar.
yeah, I guess I could see that.
Yeah.
You're right. It's not. It isn't incredibly original, but no offense, they're basically telling the quote unquote colonization myth.
Yeah.
How can Hollywood use AI if all the actors are non-binary? Thanks, creep. It's a good question.
Ba-dum-bum.
Pum is right.
And
All right, we both can't go do other things if you're not going to tell me that you're doing other things.
oh, sorry.
Because we both go do other things. We're briefly, I had to answer a text message real fast.
Oh, okay.
And all of a sudden it goes dead quiet. I'm like, dang it. Anyways, we're getting close to the end of this thing. But what are your, so give me your final thoughts on whether on this whole Avatar CGI mess, whether it comes to either Star Trek or like, what is the can of worms? How big is the can of worms Otoy has opened?